Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of All in All with Alex. I'm your host, of course, Alex. Today, we have a very special guest in the building with us today, Mr. Jason. How you doing today, sir?
Hey, Alex, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah. No problem at all. No problem at all. So, how do you pronounce your last name?
It's Plevell, Jason Plevell.
Okay, like level with a P.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay, I got you. All right, so can you give the people a quick background about yourself, and then we'll jump into the questions?
yeah, absolutely. I started doing personal training years ago, and I really wanted to have this career, this life of helping people improve themselves. And stuff happened. Life got in the way, and I couldn't make that work. So I actually started a small construction company, which has been great. It provided for the family. It did what it was supposed to do, but it wasn't my passion, wasn't my drive, wasn't my calling. And I began to lose sight of what was important to me. And I began to cope in ways that wasn't healthy for me, hiding parts of myself that I really shouldn't have been hiding. I drank a lot of alcohol, and my now ex-wife, she didn't know about it. And so there was all these things that through my healing journey, I've discovered about myself that I can look back now and say, this is why I was taking the actions that I was doing and started making the changes that I need to be making. And now I'm getting back into that field of helping people, doing life coaching, doing mindset mentoring, helping people through their challenges. And, you know, I think all of us have gone through some pretty difficult challenges in life. And I know there's people out there that have far more struggles, have it a lot worse than I do. But I've gone through a series of events that were challenging, that were hard, and I feel like I've learned a few things along the way. And so now I just want to help people.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I mean, that's amazing. We all go through things in life, and to be able to, um, turn what was seen as a negative into a positive, and then to be able to help motivate other people to do the same. That's always amazing. So,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
let's jump straight in it. Um, so basically, you just explained about your pivotal moment in your life that kind of led to becoming a personal transformation specialist. Um, but how does your personal experience with those inform you, like give you that more of an insight to when you're helping other people? Like how do you go, like let's say you have a client come to you and they want to transform. How are you able to narrow down you know what that driving factor should be in their life that to help them to transform basically?
Yeah,
You get what I
great
mean?
question. That's a good question, Alex. And, I can't help everybody, because we're all on our own path. And the
Mm-hmm.
path that I have taken, the experiences that I've had, and the challenges that I've gone through, um, be it excessive weight gain, alcohol abuse, substance abuse, divorce and bankruptcy, and suicide. I mean, I was on the suicide prevention hotline, and um, going through all of those things and really focusing on what is it about me, my psyche, how I was raised, the stuff in my childhood, the stuff in my past, and how I interpreted that. I know there's individuals that are on similar paths, and so I can't help everybody, but people that are on a similar path, I can kind of help walk them through what I went through, and if it resonates with them, then great. Then we might be able to share some experiences of growing together.
Okay. So can you explain your philosophy of living with reasons, or achieving results, but never both?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's something that I heard from Les Brown, a big motivational speaker, and he says you can either have reasons or you can have results. And so the circumstances that you have in your life, if they aren't what you want to see, don't come up with a whole list of reasons why you're not seeing them. You can either produce the results that you want to see, or you can come up with the reasons why you're not seeing them. And it's about being accountable and taking personal accountability for all of your actions. So if bad shit, I'm sorry, cursing, but if bad stuff happens in your life, then you have to look at it from introspectively. What did I do wrong? Because if I start looking at all the reasons why all this bad stuff happened to me, I'm playing the victim.
Mm-hmm.
And you can either be a victim or you can be a victor. You can be a loser or a winner, and you have to take charge. If you can look at the problem and you can, if you can own the problem, then you can own the solution. And so it's all about a mindset shift, and shifting that mindset from these are all the reasons why I don't have anything to I don't care about those reasons. I'm just going to start producing results.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, I would think that anything that you want to do in the world, it always starts with a shift in your mindset. So I definitely understand your reasoning for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, so how do you help clients transition from feeling stuck to realizing their true potential?
I think it all starts with a strategic series of questioning to really
Mm-hmm.
start planting some seeds. And if an individual is ready, if their mind is fertile enough for those seeds to be planted, then we can begin watering those seeds and growing growing the aspects of their personality that they are going to need to develop in order to become the individuals that they want to be. And my specific process is actually, it's like a 5-step process. And we have to start with the emotional healing. We have to look back at what did I go through? What pain did it cause in me? What associations did I have with that pain? And how can I process and overcome that pain?
Mm-hmm.
Once we kind of have that established, we step into the second phase of starting to improve. So self improvement, building the habits that you need to have in order to drive lasting positive changes. And whether it be with your physical health and diet, whether it be just picking up and reading a book, a page a day, or getting some sort of self-help app, as long as you're improving every single day and developing a habit of improving every single day, that's key.
Mm-hmm.
Because now that you've healed the trauma, or you're in the process of healing the trauma, you can start to grow. The third
Okay.
step of the phase is is about identity. How do you identify yourself in the world? And it's about being authentic. If you want to laugh, you laugh. If you have something to say, you say it. If you want to love, you love, and you do it with everything that you have. It's about being true to yourself, not censoring yourself, just letting that out. And if something quote unquote negative comes from that, you learn from that experience, you know? And it's just tapping into that version of yourself that is inside of you, that best version of yourself, and just starting to live that out. The identity is, what stories are you telling yourself? Because the stories that you truly believe about yourself, that's going to dictate how you act and how you think and how you feel, which is going to determine the results that you have in your life. And so it all comes down to that identity.
Yeah,
And then
yeah, yeah.
yeah. There's two more. The fourth step of the process that we go through is building a community of support, having the right support system. And then the last and final stage of my process is making sure that you have the right drive and purpose for your life. Where exactly do you want to go from here? Getting clear on your vision.
Okay.
So that's how I
So
help clients.
okay. So out of those 5 steps, I mean, I understand. Each five are very important, and you can't do one without the other if you really want to transform. But which one would you say is the most crucial?
Identity. Yeah,
Okay.
that one specifically for me, from my experience, was
Mm-hmm.
was literally life changing. And if you can harness your authenticity And for us men, harness your authentic masculinity and shifting those stories that you tell yourself. So in my personal experience, I built a construction company that I was not passionate about. And I felt like I trapped myself in a prison. It was a prison of my own design. And it wasn't what I felt God was calling me to do. And so I didn't know how to handle that stress. I didn't know what to do with that disconnect. So I drank a lot. And there was probably about 8 years worth of drinking. I was a functioning alcoholic, a closet alcoholic. Like I said, my ex-wife had no idea. And it took an employee of mine to find a bottle of vodka in my truck and talk to her about it and say, I don't think I can work for Jason anymore because of his drinking. And she said, what drinking? And when I looked at my going through my healing and I started to look at myself, I was my dad. I became my dad, right? My identity was tied to that. He was a dirty construction worker. He was a blue collar worker. I felt so disgusted by that fact almost. I was a great provider for my family. Financially, everything was taken care of. But the belief that I had about my identity was I'm a dirty construction worker. And what does a dirty construction worker do? They come home, they're tired, they're sore, they drink a lot, they don't take care of themselves, all of these things. And looking back at it, I was doing all of those things. And it was this cycle. Dirty construction worker. I acted a certain way. I felt a certain way. I had my self-talk was a certain way. And those are the results that I saw. And it was this cycle that repeated. But once I shifted my identity, I said, maybe I don't need to identify with that story. Maybe I'm a peak performance athlete. And so once I started to think that maybe, just maybe I'm a peak performance athlete, I started to identify with that. And I bought a bike and I just started biking, something simple every single day, a mile here, a mile there. And eventually it came 15 miles, 20 miles, 25 miles. And now I'm doing 100 miles in a day, and sitting on a bike for 6, 7 hours, because that's what a peak performance athlete does. And does a peak performance athlete put alcohol in his body? No. So the very day that I said, I am not this anymore, I am now this, the way I acted, thought, and felt about myself shifted in an instant. It was like a switch flipped. And I haven't had a drop of alcohol since. I've lost 50 pounds since that day. And it's like, I'm me again. I feel like I'm the person I was meant to be. So identity, answer your question, identity.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. That's amazing, man. I mean, you know, we most people in the world want to lose weight, and then for you to be able to give up a bad habit and then you know drop 50 pounds as well, feel great about yourself. I mean, 100 miles in a day is that's insane.
Yeah,
You know what I
and
mean?
it's awesome. It's the best feeling in the world. I did one yesterday. It's called a century. You're doing a bike ride. It's a century. It's 100 miles. I got caught in a rainstorm on the way back, and it was the most
Wow.
magical thing in the world, man. I loved it.
Yeah.
There was
Oh, yeah.
lightning in the distance, and there was rain coming through the trees. It was amazing, magical.
Yeah. 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 That's how I feel about I ride motorcycles, so that's how I feel about biking. It's just when you in that open road is just so calming. It's
Yeah,
something about it. So,
absolutely.
so I definitely understand that. All those men we have to have something that's our calming for us. So
Yeah, I used to have a Harley too. And they say when your
okay,
Harley's broken, you fix it. When you're broken, your Harley fixes you.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I never heard that one before, but I like it. So, do you have maybe like a success story that kind of comes to mind when you think of one of your clients? Like the first one that comes to your mind is like, what, I helped this person out, and now they were able to transform into this.
You know, I, I would have to say my success story is probably the biggest one that I got,
Okay, okay,
honestly.
yeah, okay. Hey, nothing wrong with that as long as people are transforming. It doesn't really matter who
You know,
stands out the most. But I just know sometimes people have certain things that they do, and it's always sticks in the back of their head. Like that's the first person they think about. So
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. No, and it's like I've planted so many different seeds in so many different people. It's hard to pinpoint exactly which one has had the largest impact, but I feel like
mhm,
the just the interaction with another individual, not only just person to person, but soul to soul. I know we're sitting here on a computer, but me looking in your eyes, man, I'm connecting to your soul, and I'm planting
mhm,
a seed in you. Things that I'm saying might be resonating with you. They might be resonating with some of your viewers at a later date, but which is awesome. Which is why you doing this is amazing. It's great because now we have this platform to where you're planting seeds in people, trying to spark some change. I'm doing the same thing, planting these seeds in people, trying to spark some change. We're all just trying to make the world a better place.
right, right. Yes, sir. I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. So, what are some common misconceptions about personal transformation that you encounter in your work?
A big one that comes to mind right away. Forgive me because I can't remember who I should give credit to for this quote, but they say just because something is difficult or challenging does not mean it's valuable. And so, if you're going through something difficult, something that's is really, really, you're busting your ass trying to get it, essentially.
Mm,
And I think about people like our fathers, my father, your father, these guys that they worked and they worked and they worked and they busted their ass to provide for their family. And myself when I was in construction, and yourself in whatever field you were in, it's like this is hard. We're doing something really hard every single day, getting up and really giving it our all, which is good and it's great, but that doesn't make it valuable. I think the things that are valuable are the things that come easy to us. The
mm,
things that God or this divine power, this bigger creator that's out there, this bigger higher power. If you believe in that, great. If not, that's fine too. But there's something out there that every once in a while will plant something valuable in your life because it was meant for you. And the hardest thing that people have to learn to realize is that it's there for a reason and you deserve it. And so if you have something valuable in your life, you have to learn to respect it and appreciate it and be grateful for it and learn to believe that you deserve that thing. And that I think is the biggest misconception because a lot of people think something really, really great came into my life, but I didn't work hard for it, so I'm going to push it away.
mm.
But changing
Okay.
your
Okay.
mindset around believing that you're worthy of that and accepting that, again, it comes down to that identity.
Right. Right. Okay. So, so those five, the five phases that you were talking about, are those, what you use to help clients recognize and harness their inner divine strengths?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Alex. Yeah, it's a process that we follow over the course of 6 months, getting people to really connect with their authentic self. Try not to make changes too drastic to where it flips their life entirely. Especially if you have a family, you're trying to take care of bills, trying to get the sports taken care of, trying to, have that work life balance and not lose yourself in that process, go on family vacations and stuff. But you just know that there's something missing, that feeling of being stuck. I'm stuck in a rut and I don't know why. And yeah, I feel like going through that process, it's about analyzing yourself, trying to look back at some of your old patterns and figure out why you are where you're at, coming to terms with that, healing whatever needs to be healed. And then, I mean, in a lot of ways, it's almost like without actually forcing yourself to rock bottom, you are theoretically or metaphorically speaking, putting yourself at rock bottom so that you have a fresh, solid base to start from. Because once you're at rock bottom, the only place you have to go is up.
Right.
And so, yeah, those 5 phases kind of get you there.
Okay. Okay. Um, So, can you discuss the importance of commitment over fleeting interest in personal development?
Ah, yeah, I love that one, man. That's a good question. That's one of my favorites, because you can have an individual say, I enjoy working out. I'm interested in working out, or I would really like to lose weight, and the physical component is always kind of easiest to talk about, in my opinion. But if somebody says, I'm interested in losing weight, then what they're going to do, they're going to dabble, right? They're going to maybe try a diet here, maybe go for a walk once a week, twice a week, maybe go get a membership. They're going to maybe start buying different groceries. But when you're full on committed 100% to losing that weight, that there are no maybes. You're in the gym every single day because that's what you committed to. You made a promise to yourself. You are dead set on getting that goal. It's not a fleeting interest. You are 100% committed no matter what. I am going to achieve this. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to take the steps that are necessary. I'm going to be disciplined, and I'm going to do it every single day consistently because that is what I said I'm worth. That's what I said I'm going to be doing. I'm committed wholeheartedly. So yeah, I love that one, man. There's this thing called the commitment ladder, and there's 4 rungs of the commitment ladder. Number one, the very, very bottom rung, is you catch yourself being there because you say things like, I want to lose weight. I want to have a better life. I want to start improving my body. I want to start figuring out why my life is a shit show. I want to have a better relationship with my spouse or significant other. That's the lowest form of commitment, man. You're going to get nowhere with saying I want. Then the next step, rung number 2, is saying I'll try. I'm going to try to be the person I was meant to be. I'm going to try to lose the weight. I'm going to try to be a better father, a better husband, a better wife, a better mother. The third rung is I'm going to do this until or unless. I'm going to do this thing until it gets too hard. I'm going to do this thing until something better comes along. Or I'm going to do this thing until I don't want to anymore. Whatever excuse or reason comes up, there's those reasons again. You're going to find a reason to not do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're close. That third rung is getting you close, but it's the fourth one is where we need to be. And that's 100% commitment. I'm doing this no matter what. Nothing is going to stop me because I'm a fucking rock star and I'm going to get it done.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. And so, just for a quick example, I kind of that the latter kind of registers with me a little bit when it comes to this podcast. I originally started the podcast in 2021, and I did one episode and I released it, and then I didn't do anything for a whole nother year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh man, I need to get back on it. So then I started doing a couple. I did like 2 or 3 more episodes, and then I went 6 or 7 more months without doing anything. And I said, you know what? I said, look, 2024. I'm gonna be consistent with it. If I really want to do this, I have to stay consistent with it. I have to, you know, because before I was just I did an episode or two, and I found myself struggling with okay, well, what am I gonna get on here and talk about? You know, and I didn't know enough people to just be able to get guests all the time. I mean, I knew some people, but a lot of people didn't want to get on here and do certain things. So I'm like, okay, so what I'm gonna do? I'm like, I don't know where should I start at with my topics and things like that. And then, of course, that's when I found podcastguests.com, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, this works. So then, just start scheduling them back to back, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna do it, knock it out, and so far so good. I think I think I'm about. I think I've done. I'm not sure how many episodes I've already completed, but I know I have another 40-ish scheduled for the rest of the year so far.
Awesome, man.
Um, So, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll definitely have over 100 guests that I've brought on by the end of the year. So,
That's
um,
amazing.
so, so I finally hit the top of that ladder to say, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to let anything stop me. Of course, we still have stuff here and there that goes on, obviously, because we had to reschedule this before. But still didn't let us stop it. We had to still get it together and still complete the mission. So um,
Absolutely. Have you heard the story of the Chinese bamboo tree?
I haven't.
No. And so there's a story. It's a old Chinese story that says this guy's out in his yard watering the ground every single day. His neighbors come by and say, "What the hell are you doing? You're just watering the spot in the ground." He's like, "I'm growing a Chinese bamboo tree." They're like, "Oh yeah, okay. Good luck with that." Every single day, day after day, week after week, month after month, for 5 years straight, this man out in his yard, this crazy looking guy, watering the same spot over and over and over again. Neighbors laughing at him, friends tell him to stop it. Your goals are stupid, your dreams are stupid. Why are you being so consistent with this thing that's not producing any results? And that's the way a Chinese bamboo tree grows. For 5 years, you're watering it over and over and over. And it takes about, I can't remember, it's like from the day it actually sprouts, after that fifth year, it shoots up 90 feet in like 6 weeks. And it's that story of consistency and perseverance despite the lack of results. Like with what you're doing here, it might be slower than we want, but consistent, disciplined habits, because that is what your uniqueness is trying to convey through you. Your
Mhm.
podcast is your bamboo tree, and you have to put in the work, and eventually, man, it's going to take off. It's going to explode.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I definitely agree. I definitely agree. So, um, you kind of answered that one. So, how do you feel that your approach differs from traditional coaching methods?
Hmm. I think just because it's me, I take a lot of what I've learned from certain motivational speakers, from other coaches, so like Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Eric Thomas, E.T., the hip hop preacher, man, he was my favorite. All of these individuals, Coach Payne, and so many others. I listen to them as often as I can when I'm in the gym. But these individuals have kind of shaped who I am. And I used to think, really, why should I go out there and try to change people's lives and not just say, go listen to these people? They're going to teach you everything that you need to know. But somewhere along the line, again, there's a shift in identity that says the uniqueness that is me, my voice, can only be heard by certain people. They might not resonate with those other individuals, but they resonate with me. Even if it's the exact same message, the way I do my coaching might be the exact same that other people do their coaching. And that's okay because my voice is different. My
Mhm.
approach is different just because of who I am and my authenticity coming out through my message. Nobody can say what I need to say in the way that I need to say it.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. And then not only that, certain gestures, emotions, or how you look into people's eyes. Some people don't do that whenever they're, in the process of coaching because that may be one of the things that they struggle with, or so on and so forth. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
okay, okay. So, let's see. So what? No, you're gonna say. So how do you balance pushing clients out of their comfort zone while ensuring that they feel supported?
To be honest, I don't think I pushed people out of their comfort zones. That's something that they have to decide for themselves. Before I decide to work with anybody, that's a qualifying question, you
Gotcha.
know. And are you coachable? Are you able to make decisions to take decisive action? Are you willing to get out of your comfort zone? And not everybody is. And you can't help people that don't want to be helped.
Hmm.
But once somebody has struggled enough, once someone has gone through enough hardship and enough pain, they're ready for that change. they say, the way that I've been living my life has not been working. I have to try something different. And that's where the line of questioning comes in to make you start thinking differently, to start planting seeds and not necessarily push them out of their comfort zone, but help guide them out of that.
Okay.
And it comes down to all of these things that you're asking, Alex. It comes down to being consistent, being disciplined, having those daily actions, getting outside of your comfort zone because you know that's where the growth comes from.
Hmm. Right. Right. Okay. Okay. Um. So, can you maybe share, one or two practical tips for individuals looking to start their journey of self transformation?
Yeah, especially when it comes to hardship and pain, emotional turmoil. If you're going through something difficult right now and it seems challenging and you seem like you can't get through it, can almost guarantee it's because you haven't had enough hard shit in your life. You don't have that level of resilience in your life. If you were to look back though and start to analyze all of the hard things that you have gone through and realize that you're still here, you're still alive, you do have a 100% success rate. But the reason hard things keep coming up is because you haven't put yourself through enough pain. That's why, like, you see ice bath stuff so often right now. Like, I've seen that it's exploded. It used to start with Wim Hof. He was the one that started doing like cold plunges and stuff. But now in the self improvement industry, you see ice baths all the time. You can buy your own personal ice tub to sit outside. And it's not so that you can put your body in freezing cold water. It's so that you can start taking control of your mind. And when I was going through my divorce, that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And I know people have other hard things they have to do, but for me, it was difficult. It was challenging. I thought about ending it all. And I realized, yes, this is difficult, but you know what else is challenging is going for a 10-mile run when I've never ran before. So I'm going to go do a 10-mile run just to prove to myself that I can do hard things. And the more you put yourself in those difficult situations and survive by choice, the more you realize that you're capable of doing hard things. That when hard stuff happens and it comes up in your life, you're going to be okay.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
that I think is huge. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um. So, what are certain ways that you potentially help your clients maintain their progress and continue growing after they've already worked with you?
Developing habits is huge, and that does take time. You have, depending on how old you are, you have 30, 40, 50, 60 years of these bad habits that have made you who you are. You're not going to be able to change that overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have this method. It's called the fast growth method, which is incorporated into the five stages of my coaching program. But part of that fast growth method is about developing the habits and then tracking the habits, and then developing the mindset of consistency and discipline. And so there's, like, whatever type of tracker you use, you got to have some way to track it to make sure that you're focusing on it every single day. And yeah, some people are going to fall off, at the end, if they don't have that accountability, that personal accountability,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, it's going to fall off. Um, and so, over the course of 6 months, I hope that's something that really can get instilled inside of my clients and any other person that's trying to develop themselves.
Right. Right. Yeah, you got to have those what I call KPIs in automotive industry, key process indicators, let you know
Yeah.
what. So speaking of that, what are some key indicators that lets you know that someone is ready for deep personal transformation work?
Key indicators that let me know if they are ready.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. I can't really pinpoint any specific indicators. The way that
And
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, is just one of those things where as you conversate with them, you just is something you just pick up on like a vibe or a feeling or something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing because right now, all of my contact stuff is done through Instagram. And so I
Okay.
post videos daily, just different inspiration that I get, different ideas that I want to share, stories from my past that I think some people might resonate with. And the more people that like these videos that I post and follow me, I reach out to them and say, hey, what's going on? Why did you like my video? Why did you decide to follow me? And a conversation starts. And you start to learn about an individual and really deeply connect with them, and come to find out everybody's got problems. Not everybody's ready for change, but some of those individuals just, they feel like they're at the bottom of the barrel. They feel like they're that feeling of being stuck, and they don't know why. They just know that they need some help getting out of it.
Right. Yep. I agree. I agree. So, how do you address any resistance that your clients may give you or fear when it comes to them facing their deepest challenges?
Just more introspection, more trying to get down to the bottom of that. When you say fear, fear is an emotion, and it's an emotion that gets created inside of our body. That emotion is going to dictate what type of actions we take. We're either going to take an action or we're not going to take an action based on that fear. We're either going to choose to revert back to our old ways, or we're going to choose to be courageous and step through the fear. But the fear comes from the way we think, the self talk that we have, which stems from our identity. And so it's about asking the right questions, getting down to the bottom of, where is this fear coming from? Is it coming from unconsciously being unaware that there's an identity shift happening? Because that, again, identity shift is one of the hardest things that an individual can go through, because it changes everything about who you are. It flips it upside down and it becomes a complete mess. And that scares a lot of people. That's where that fear comes from. If there's resistance and there's fear because they don't want to change, it's because they know that they are going to be forced to tear their entire life apart and have to pick up the pieces. And helping people realize that they can get through that, they can they can pick up the pieces. It's possible to pick up the pieces and rebuild and become the individual that you want to be. I think can give them a little bit of hope, just helping them understand that it's going to be okay.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Um, so, can you discuss the connection between um, authenticity and success in various aspects of life?
So, yeah, success. I mean, what exactly does that mean to an individual? What exactly does it mean to you? What does it mean to me? Everybody's version of success is different. But I think that's where it comes down to being authentic and being real, being honest with yourself. If you can connect wholeheartedly with the best version of yourself, the most authentic version, without any fear of being judged, without any fear of being criticized, just being you, honestly connecting with your truth and falling in love with that, falling in love with that version of yourself that you know is in you, that you know is beautiful, because it's just another part of nature. It's a part of God. It's a part of the universe. And once you connect with that and you start to express it, and you can feel inside of your heart that that is good and it's real, and it's, you're not faking it, and you start to see all these different synchronicities and life unfolding in ways that are more beautiful than you could ever imagine. And I think that's what success is, truly.
Okay. So how do you incorporate mindfulness or spiritual practices into your transformation?
Sitting quietly with yourself, distraction free, especially right away in the morning, I think is huge. If you can wake up, do what you got to do, hopefully before the rest of the family wakes up or before any other um, of life starts kicking in, normal routines start kicking in. I don't, I'm not a church person. I'm not a religious person, but I think there's some divine power that is out there helping, not necessarily driving our life, but helping us learn to become the drivers. Um, and that involves just sitting quietly in the dark or just the dim light of the morning is what my favorite time, and just letting this work without judgment, without any criticism, just letting your thoughts process. And that's, I think, being mindful too. It's just about being aware of what's happening inside your brain, inside your mind, inside your body, being all around you, just living presently in the moment. And that's what I found has been really helpful.
Okay. Okay. So what advice would you give individuals who feel overwhelmed by the idea of personal transformation?
Honestly, I don't know if I would. Because I don't. I love everybody the same. Not the same as my family and whatnot, but everybody in the world. Um, I want to express gratitude and love to them for being here on this planet with me, for having these interactions with me. But I can't bend over backwards for people that aren't ready for it, that don't want to work hard for it. And so, if you're not ready for personal transformation, then that's fine, because that's where you're at on your own personal journey. I can't really give any advice or try to persuade them one way or the other. They have to decide it for themselves.
Right. Right. Okay. So on your one of your five phases that you had earlier was community,
Yeah.
or like a support system. So how, have you maybe had a client that were able to go through all the phases but not have a support system because maybe they don't have any family or maybe they just don't have anyone?
So that's a big one. And it can be difficult for a lot of people, especially individuals that are more introverted or quote unquote shy. But hopefully, by the time we've gotten through phase one, you've healed stuff. Phase two, you started to grow your habits that improve yourself, and you start to feel more confident about yourself, and you develop that self esteem. Step three, then you become more authentic, and you learn to identify with the things that you want to identify with. Building that community and having that support now is literally just about starting to open up and express yourself. Um, and you'll be surprised. You'll be just amazed at the type of connections. If you don't have a lot of family and friends, those people are going to start being drawn to you because you've gotten through the other phases. You're literally changing your resonance and your vibration, and you start to attract the people that you need into your life. And social media is actually one of the things that I think has a negative connotation to it, because everybody's putting out there this fakeness, and they're trying to get likes, and they're trying to do whatever to build this persona. But social media is actually a great way to build your community if you're doing it correctly. If you're putting yourself out
Right.
there and you're just talking from the heart, you're being true and you're being authentic, the people that resonate with that are going to start to see that, and you're going to build connections with people from all over the world. And that's just one way to do it. And once you start to do that, you can start to grow your confidence, and then you're going to get out into the real world, the quote unquote real world, and you can start to do that with people in person too. And it's just about training, retraining It's about unlearning the bad and retraining yourself with all this good new stuff, and then being comfortable and confident enough to share it, because you're going to start to bring in that community. You'll be able to foster that community that will support you and continue to help you grow.
Right, right. Okay, okay. So, um, is there maybe like a particular message that you would like to leave with the listeners today that are thinking about embarking on their own journey of personal transformation?
We highlighted on it a little bit ago. I just want to reiterate that fact. Put yourself into some difficult situations. Go out there and find your hard, so that when the hard finds you, you're prepared for it. Get out there and force yourself to be uncomfortable as often as you can, as much as you can. And it doesn't have to be real big and drastic. You can start with something small. Like if you normally brush your teeth with your right hand, start brushing your teeth with your left hand. It's those things that you don't often think about that can make a
Mm-hmm.
big impact in your life. But and you would think, that's stupid, brushing your hair with your right or your left. What's the point? The point is you're starting to mess with those habits that are stuck in your brain, especially the subconscious ones, the ones that you do every single day and you don't realize you're doing it. You start to mess with that, and it starts to pay attention more. And if you can do that for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks straight, you're going to start to think, well, what else can I do differently? You're going to start to become more
Mm-hmm.
mindful and aware. And now it's like, well, normally when I get home from work, I binge watch Netflix for an hour. Well, that's my comfort. Now I'm gonna put that aside, and I'm gonna go for a walk for an hour instead. And then as you continue to grow and develop, you're going to find new ways to put yourself into hard situations because you actually like the growth. The growth feels good. And then you're going to start to read, and you're going to start to run, and you're going to start to go to networking events, and you're going to start doing whatever it takes just to, I mean, maybe you're going to join a boxing class or kickboxing or self-defense or, whatever it may be. But there's just start doing something different so that you can switch up that comfort zone.
Right. Okay. Okay. So everyone, you guys heard it from Jason here. Go out there and find your heart, so that way when your heart finds you, you'll be ready. Jason, I definitely want to take this time to tell you how much I appreciate you coming on the show today. Talking about your personal transformation for yourself, and then talking with the listeners a little bit about how you help transform other people, and so on. So I definitely appreciate you for coming on and talking about that today.
Absolutely, Alex. I really appreciate you having me on here too. This has been a really good experience.
Oh yes sir, no problem at all. So everyone that's watching, you guys go to Jason's Instagram.
Yeah,
Um, you know,
it's the
like his
obstacle
videos.
remover.
Yeah, the obscure movie.
Yeah,
Go to his Instagram and share his videos to you guys. The story, like them, comment on them. Let them know I sent you guys. All his information will be in the show notes and in the description if you're on YouTube as well. So you guys go and support him with everything that he has going on. And if hey, if you need to book him, message him on Instagram, and you guys go from there. So you guys have just watched another episode of All in All with Alex, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.